What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone's having a fantastic afternoon, evening, no matter where you are in the world. Happy MLK Day. Today is, of course, the day of the white moderate. Today is, of course, the day that we honor MLK by whitewashing and revising his history, by claiming he was not an anti-imperialist, anti-capitalist radical, but instead just a guy who wanted white people and black people to get along, and that meant all black people and all white people, as in all he wanted was conservative white people and conservative black people to avoid scrutiny. If you look at the internet, if you look at, of course, the Dave Rubins of the world, that is the only thing they've gotten from MLK's vision. So, I hope everyone's having a great time. I hope everyone's having a great day. The week has started for some of you. The week has not started for others. We're going to watch the Vice Biden interview currently. We missed the Bernie one, but we can rewatch it, I guess. Where is it? Can someone link it to me? There's like a... Is it like the black and brown thing? Okay, let's take a look at Vice's black and brown thing that they're doing.
Georgia, Arkansas, Arizona, Texas, Pennsylvania, Michigan. That's one of the things you're going to have to ask yourself. It's not just enough for us to go out and beat the Republican and make sure he's out of office, but you got to be able to be value added in bringing back a Democratic Senate. We can win the Democratic Senate. Just like, remember, y'all criticized me for saying we're going to win back 41 seats in the House of Representatives. We won 41 seats, and we beat Republicans, sitting Republicans. So look, folks, once the Carney show goes through town once, and there's no pee under any one of the shells, next time it comes around, they go, whoa, I'm not so sure about this guy. The world has changed because of what Trump has done. And the American people...
America literally voted for George W. Bush twice, homie. You're old enough to know that.
He's misrepresented. Know how he's getting close to getting us in a war. I said, as the walls close in on this man, I'm worried he's going to get us to war.
And by that point, by the time his re-election was starting...
The fact of the matter
people
is,
were very upset with the war. It was very unpopular.
It's not enough just to beat him. We have to keep the Democratic House, and you have to get a Democratic Senate, and you have to ask yourself, who's the best person to help get that done?
When it comes to compromise, recently people have been talking about Social Security, and Senator Sanders' camp has been hitting you on past comments about Social Security recently.
But they misrepresented it.
I understand that there was a video that didn't include its entire context. But what I really want to talk about is it's an issue that's important to black and brown people.
Wait, hold up.
Are more likely to
There's no pushback?
on retirement.
No pushback to that misrepresentation? So, okay, what about like 60 years in politics where you have tried
your commitment
to cut Social Security and Medicare?
In the past, you proposed a freeze to it.
No, I didn't propose a freeze.
She did say it.
Look, we're talking about is the time.
She said it.
You mean when we went together and decided to...
you talked about it in the context of balancing the budget.
No,
so is that something that voters should be...
It was in the context of we saved Social Security during the Reagan administration was about to go under. And everyone from Teddy Kennedy on voted for that, to save Social Security. My proposal on Social Security has been straightforward from the beginning. We have to increase the taxes on people making over $400,000 so they pay the exact same percentage of their income as we pay for if you're making $50,000 or $20,000 or $128,000. That will make sure it's solvent for all the young people in this audience and also allow us to raise the amount of money for those people who are living way beyond what the Social Security expected them to live, so they in fact can have an increase in their Social Security payment, as well as if they lose a spouse and their Social Security is reduced. That's the way to make sure we are able to take care of it, make sure we're able to put everybody in a position where there's going to be Social Security for the next generation. That's what we should be doing.
So Bloomberg reporter Stephen Dennis said the other day, McConnell has told me he hopes to work with the next Democratic president to trim Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Says you need bipartisan deal to do so. Do you think that
there is
he's talking about you in that
deal?
context?
No, not at all. Because you may remember when, in fact,
this is what it did, though.
This administration went after cutting Obamacare. I went up on I was asked by the House to come up and stand on the Capitol steps as vice president as we were leaving office. And I said, this is all about trying to do away with the safety net. This has nothing to do with anything having to do with health care. This is about trying to get rid of the safety net. And I said, what they're going to do is they're going to significantly increase the deficit, which they did. And I predicted what would happen is the House was going to call for massive cuts in Social Security. What did the budget director, what did the head of the budget committee do? He proposed cutting Medicare by $500 billion.
Biden is
predicted would happen.
Biden is doing a lot better today, and I think part of the reason why he's doing a lot better today is literally because he's not like at his sundowning time yet.
Democratic Senate, there will be no compromise on cutting Medicare or Social Security.
No compromise at all.
Period.
That's a promise.
It's because it's 2 p.m. Yeah.
Another area.
Speaking of compromise, Biden's actually doing decently well because it's like,
folks, of course, is immigration policy.
It's not nap time yet. You know what I mean?
Thing is, immigrant communities don't always look back on the Obama and Biden administration fondly on that issue. Recently, you acknowledged the pain caused by the deportation of about 3 million people. The other day at an event in Las Vegas, you told Hector Sanchez Barba, who worked in the Obama administration on immigration policy, you privately know where I was on that, but I'm not going to get into that because I was vice president. What did you mean when you said that? And do you and President Obama have disagreements about immigration?
I'm not going to get into that. Let me tell you what my policy is. My policy is family unification. What I will do is deal with family unification. I have some idea what it's like to lose family, or whether it's deportation or any other reason. It's tragic. And what I'm going to do is make sure we focus on family unification. First thing I'm going to do is make sure we protect dreamers. I'm going to send, in the first day I am president, I already have it written, send them the House and Senate, a immigration proposal that's going to provide a pathway for 11 million people. I'm going to end the idea that, for example, my wife went across the border in Brownsville with a member of Congress to help feed people on the other side of the border. Guess what? They're there seeking asylum. First time
Biden
ever,
completely dodged deportation, completely dodged Social Security. What is going on right here? What is going on right here is journalistic malpractice. Okay, this is not just like regular negligence. This is criminal negligence. The fact that Joe Biden got zero pushback on his efforts to cut Social Security throughout his career. The fact that Joe Biden got absolutely no pushback thus far on his immigration efforts under Barack Obama. I mean, it's just insane to me.
The economy was going into a tank. I'm the guy that came up with the proposal to provide for
Keith,
$900
chill the fuck
billion
out, all
in
right?
recovery money. Got 3 Republicans to vote for it.
I turned my mic down a little bit. Sorry if it's too loud.
Save the economy, as most economists will lay out for you. But what happened was the president thought that the best way to get, and the team thought the best way to get a deal was to, in fact, enforce the law and get a commitment that they would, in fact, go forward and do massive change in immigration by a massive program to provide a pathway for 11 million folks. In the meantime, when the Republicans didn't pay fair, the president came along with DACA, first time that ever occurred, and he had a program that.
Okay, I don't care about this. What the hell is this? BR gaming? When the smart friend is giving the call outs?
Okay, take us to the resort.
Who just went into the dilapidated building? What is
a dilapidated? Just say
it. Broken building.
God, we get it. You're smart, man. What is
No,
a
I
dilapidated?
wasn't.
Yeah, what the fuck is a dilapidation?
Okay, take us to the
Wait, who just
resort.
went into the dilapidated building? What? Who just went into the dilapidated? What? That's awesome, dude. Am I a real gamer now? Like, I'm getting these like gaming. I'm getting gaming cutouts. By the way, like this is pretty tight. ESL, by the way. Yeah, that is an ESL thing to know like random words like that aren't like that you wouldn't normally use, because I learned English by reading English books, dude. I didn't learn English by speaking English my entire life. I learned it literally by watching television and, most importantly, reading English books. You need to have a heated gaming moment. ESL people have crazy vocabulary. Epic kill by Scav Pistol, fully 43 level, not me. What is this?
Sini volt neve.
Okay, yeah, he got him. Yeah, I'm a gamer, dude. I'm a real gamer. You read Strangers in Their Own Land? No. All right, so let's watch these ones. These are much more fun.
What are you bringing?
I think it's better to do this like snacky, like bite-sized, piece by piece. Look at like Pete Buttigieg, like all the highlights, because like I really don't care about Joe Biden's answers to like these lib vice journalists being like,
"Oh, is it a breakfast potluck?"
See, you already messing up. Like
oh my lord, dude, this is just absolute.
Breakfast. If Antonia and I invited you to a potluck or barbecue, what are you bringing?
Oh.
Here's how you know they're libs, okay? Are you ready? Because nobody would ever invite Pete Buttigieg to the cookout, okay? Nobody. So even the fact that they're asking him implies their liberalism, their gross liberalism in this circumstance. Who is inviting Pete Buttigieg to the cookout? Anyway, they just wanted him to say, you know, potato salad with raisins, okay? That's why. But I like that his answer is it a brunch? Is it a breakfast cookout? Because those are the only ones I've been to. I would probably bring the mimosas.
Is it a breakfast potluck?
See, you already messing up.
Like 4 p.m.
Breakfast.
It's going to be chips and salsa.
Okay. Flying or teleportation?
He said, no. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Flying, because you never know it's going to be the same you that gets...
You messing up the short answer already.
Flying.
How do you prefer your grits, sugar, salt, or cheese?
Cheese.
What are...
You know that's by the way, the grits thing is like a classic one. That's why he answered it very quickly. Not because he's like a big fan of grits or anything, but he knows... the grits one is like a classic because it's like collard greens too. Like you got to know these foods specifically when you're trying to appeal to certain demographics, okay? Especially the collard greens one. Like you have to, like when you meet up with like Al Sharpton at the classic fried chicken place in New York, like you have to be aware of the food groups immediately so that you can appeal to the black voters. It's antiquated, super antiquated way of thinking about the like black voter base for the most part. But bro, that's racial. Yeah, I know. It's like a totally shallow pandering appeal to the black voter base that is reliably voted Democrat since the Voting Rights Act. However, it's like it is the only thing that Democrats have because they don't have anything else to substitute because they're devoid of any sort of meaningful policy that would greatly improve the material conditions of black and brown Americans. So they just say like, oh yeah, the food. I ate the food with Al Sharpton. I took a photo. We're good. Right? Come on, vote for me. Anyway.
What are some of the blackest cities in America?
Like by population?
Yeah, just list off a couple.
Yeah, New Orleans, Washington, D.C. That's why Washington, D.C. ought to be a state, by the way, with a senator. But I know, short answer.
He is not good at short answers. Go ahead.
What song do you know all the words to?
Star Spangled Banner?
Where did MLK go to college?
Morehouse.
Yes.
Popeyes or Chick-fil-A?
Popeyes.
What?
Damn. Oh, damn. What if he said Chick-fil-A, dude? I could have seen him say Chick-fil-A. He had to think about it. That's funny. Okay, that was good.
What will be the largest minority voting bloc this election?
People with disabilities.
Are audiobooks reading?
Wait, what did he say?
Disabilities.
Voting bloc this election.
People with disabilities.
Are audiobooks reading?
People with disabilities? Is it? Is that the largest voting bloc? I guess like people on disabilities is technically a gigantic voting bloc. I've never thought about it from that point of view. Damn. No, that is actually a pretty good answer. Like that is, I thought he was gonna say like, I thought he was gonna say Hispanic or Latino voting bloc, and which is like, it's the fastest growing one, I guess. Yeah, I mean, he's pretty good. I never thought about it like that before. HasanAbi has nothing to criticize. Wait, guys, like, I don't have to attack every single thing he says. Like, don't be a fucking moron, okay? Like, Pete Buttigieg is a very smart guy. He is capable of giving very good answers to these questions.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Are audiobooks reading?
Yeah, they are. If you bought my audiobook, then
Yeah, dude. Yeah, like it doesn't mean. Yeah, I'm not going to hit back on every little thing he says, but that also certainly doesn't mean I'm going to like vote for him. You know what I mean? Or I'm going to advocate to vote for him because he answered a question correctly in a way that I like as quickly as possible. Why is Michael Bennett up there? I can play Queen when Biden suggests.
You love your father, the devil.
Oh, damn. I shouldn't have called them libs. Sorry, Antonia Hilton, you are not a lib. I apologize. I thought you guys were being kind of, if you see this, I thought you guys were being kind of not mean enough to Joe Biden, but I take it back. I was wrong. You follow me, and obviously, therefore, your takes are good, real, and true. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. Let's keep going with that.
You don't love the spirit of justice.
Oops.
You love your
hey, you know what?
the devil.
Sometimes we're wrong, okay? I misfired. I spoke too soon.
And see the pain. You can see the pain in people's eyes. You know it. You understand it. And I'm not saying I am black, but I want to tell you something. I have spent my whole career with the black community. That's why, especially young reporters, they go, well,
Yeah.
guy, they like Biden. I wonder why so many African Americans like Biden.
Yeah.
They know me.
They know me as the guy who worked with the segregationists.
What I've done, and I'm very proud of it.
Do you worry at all that having
I'm proud of
black
my
support in the primary doesn't
anti-busing legislation I
necessarily
pushed
translate
for in the
to, winning a general election?
No, it doesn't worry me because look at the other thing. I'm the only guy you know who has overwhelming black support and gets white high school educated people to vote for him. Pennsylvania.
Wait,
Delaware.
what? Is
Ohio,
Bernard Sanders not
Michigan.
in the fucking race,
Look at the numbers.
dude?
Look at the numbers. So I'm not saying it guarantees me to win, but look, it's where I come from. I come from a working class family. I raised in a 3-bedroom home with 4 kids and a grandpop living with us. We weren't poor. But I never had any money.
I gotta say something here. How come the lib media is not eating this dude alive right now? Look, Biden is old school. He is very likable. I've said this already a million different fucking times. It's part of the reason why people like him. That's why when Bernie Sanders says like he's likable, and that's why people like him. This is Jorge Ramos' daughter. So listen, what is frustrating to me is that liberal media that does not let Bernie Sanders have an inch, lets Joe Biden get away with so many microaggressions and even like larger racially insensitive takes that he has almost on a daily basis. One of the most important ones being the fact that he is an old white guy literally basing everything and all of his popularity off of like the first black president. He is literally, he's just like every time he's attacked, he's like, well, a black guy voted for me. So what does that say about black people that won't vote for me? It's like, it's shocking.
Being able to go in and sue those police agencies like we did in New York, like we did in Newark, that in fact do not and focus on stop and frisk, focus on dealing with the deaths of black people, particularly black men, particularly black young men. And secondly, I want to make sure that when we look, there are good docs and there's bad docs. There's good PhDs and lousy PhDs. There are good cops and bad cops. And it's on the responsibility, and I make no bones about it, for every police agency that I work with, that is simple. You have an obligation to root out the people who are bad. And if you don't, your whole department is held accountable. And that's exactly what we do under the legislation.
Can you speak a little bit more specifically, though, to protecting lives?
True.
Yes.
Protecting the lives and preventing the deaths.
Well, the protecting the lives and preventing the death, because you have to hold agencies accountable. You have to put people in jail when they commit crimes. You have to be able to go out and make sure you are able to protect them. You have to stop and frisk laws, which I think are illegal. You have to stop
okay, by the way,
which we deal with
I have massive P.O. box right behind me, a hella items back here that I'm going to open up later. I also have the New York Times endorsement videos that one of the beautiful pirates in my community ripped and shipped. We're going to take a look at that. So there's a lot of good stuff coming up after this. This is just like a tease. This is a teaser.
The people who run the local
back in my day, 500 miles a day, both sides, uphill.
They know who are the problems. And in fact, when you do that, when we did community policing and we had cops out of their cars walking, crime went down and arrests went down. Because what happens is you walk in a neighborhood and nobody wants to. When I did the community policing bill, what we did, we made sure that every cop went out there and gave people at the local store, the local drugstore, the local liquor store, gave them their cell phone, private cell phone. Because what happens, what don't you want to do in a community where there's extreme violence or where there's likelihood of violence? What don't you want to do? You don't want to be the guy to turn somebody in. So you guarantee the anonymity of somebody who said, Charlie down the street just did such and such, and I can tell you what's happening. So you give the people in the communities anonymity so they are not worried about retribution. And that's a practical thing that works. A practical thing that getting cops out on the street, 2 cops on the street, because they won't get out of their cars if there's 1 cop. My son was the Attorney General of the state of
policing,
Delaware
maybe? I don't know.
And he used to go down and sit down, for example, on the east side and what they call the bucket, where there's a high crime rate. He'd go down on Saturdays. Everybody knows where the best ball is played, which I'm not joking, where you go to get the best game. And he'd take my grandson, who was then 4 years old, and he'd sit there on the bench, and he'd get to know all the guys. And he'd go and knock on the window of the local cop sitting there in a car by himself saying, "Get out of your car, Jack. Get to know these people. Get to know the community."
Well,
it matters.
He's trying to talk about community policing.
If you, in fact,
just say you want community policing
and get them engaged.
Just say you want.
The fact
dude,
is,
he's so good at overwhelming his opponents.
All communities.
He's so good at overwhelming everyone by just like
tough
word salad,
white
word
districts
vomiting
out there in cities. You know, so it's just being able to go out and let the community know.
It's literally I think it's a tactic at this point.
You are interested in them. You know, and so it's a big piece of that. And we have to change the way the criminal justice system works. Look, anybody arrested for consuming drugs shouldn't go to jail. They should go to treatment. We shouldn't be building more jails. We should be in more treatment. I'm the guy that put drug courts in. We haven't funded them yet. We haven't funded them. That's what we should be doing, diverting people. Nobody should be in jail.
We should be funding the drug courts and do civil asset forfeiture like I wanted. Oh, wait, it's not 1987 anymore.
When they're in prison, they should be in prison and they should be learning how to read and write. When they get out of prison, they should have every single right restored, including Pell Grants, including public housing, including everything. Because what do? We give them $25 and a bus ticket. They end up under a bridge.
This is so fucking disastrous, okay? He's literally doing everything he can to describe, like, I guess, progressive stances for 1987, okay? He's he just did everything in his power not to give, like, one good take. I mean, not a crumb of good take.
About public charter schools.
By the way, of course, in 1987, he was the one who was advocating against all of that.
To not dismiss good ideas because they don't fit into neat ideological boxes, or sorry, I got to do the notes.
That's
don't
okay.
Personally affect some of the louder, more privileged voices in the party. As someone who's taught at a high-performing public charter school, what role do they have in your administration?
In my administration, first of all, no for-profit charter schools or private schools, period. No for-profit with federal money. Number 2, if in fact it's a charter school, they should be held accountable to the same exact standard the public school is held to in terms of accountability,
the charter schools, Joe Biden.
They admit, how they admit, and so on. And so I'm not per se against charter schools that focus on particular skills that may be available. There's a good charter school in Delaware. There used to be Wilmington High School, and now what it is, it focuses on music and it focuses on talent that, in fact, a particular need. There's a mathematics charter school, but it is a public funded school that, in fact, is you compete to get in, and it has to be available for everybody to be able.
Head was afraid of AOC. She said she wasn't okay with that because she doesn't support a politics of fear. What should I say?
Your mom is a lib. What that means is that her entire political worldview is centered around fear. She votes out of fear. Republicans vote out of spite. She is fearful of the Republicans, so she votes for Democrats. As a matter of fact, the only thing that the DCCC does is instill fear in progressive candidates. Their sole purpose is to primary out and ensure that there is ideological consistency within the Democratic Party that is comfortably and reliably moderate across the board. So, no, it is good. If you like a policy and if you like progressive ideals, then it's good. We should be doing everything we can to fight back against this. All right, short answer.
Never accuse me of talking too long.
So, in 60 seconds, we're going to ask you to answer as many questions as possible.
Okay.
Are you up for the task?
We'll find out.
All right. Here we go. What is your biggest fear?
My losing a child.
How many languages are spoken in the U.S.?
Probably somewhere over 120.
350.
350? How many do you speak? Oh, I'm sorry.
What food do you love that everyone else hates?
I'm not one of those guys. I don't like vegetables very much, so I'm probably okay.
Who was the first black member of Congress?
The very first black member of Congress I served with was Ed Brooke from Massachusetts. And I was close friends with Don Conyers.
Right.
No, but that's a good answer, though. But the first ever black member of Congress was Hiram Rebels.
Thank you.
Who pays for your Netflix account?
I don't use a Netflix account. If I have one, I'm unaware of it.
Jordan or LeBron?
Jordan.
Oh, boomer!
Michael Flies.
How'd it do, folks? Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President.
That was painful. That was actually painful. You can see his brain have a hard time. You can see his brain have a hard time answering questions. Listen, I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. Joe Biden's strategy of rambling for 7 minutes on incredibly simple concepts like community policing, on basically one-word answers that he could be giving to issues, is effective. It is literally, it's not a strategy. It's mere accident because his brain is no longer functioning, but it's so effective.
The 2016 election was pretty devastating.
I did not vote for Trump the first time because I don't find him to be a very moral person, but I'm probably going to vote for Donald Trump this time around.
What's changed?
I think the left has run so far to the left. Well, we have to do something.
A lot of us, especially from a minority perspective, are sick and tired of hearing our livelihoods and our cultures be used as a political football. You have one side promising these things of unity and diversity, but you never really see it happen.
Are there any Democratic candidates that are appealing to you?
And vote for
Not
fascists.
right now.
Shut the
You can hardly
fuck
be
up,
a
man. These
mayor
people
and
are
be
so
pro-life in the
dumb.
Democratic
It's like,
Party.
They're right. They're right that the Democratic Party absolutely weaponizes identity. The Republican Party does it too, but they do it openly because they're doing it for white identity, and you're trained and conditioned into not realizing that white identity is an identity group. It's just the default politics. However, what is insanely frustrating is oh, the Democratic Party is just weaponizing identity and not really doing anything about it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go vote for the other fucking side instead, who are clearly evil. It's so dumb.
I am the son of a single mother who's an illegal immigrant. So if she were to be deported, what does she have to go back to? You're telling someone else they have no rights in this land.
So he's gonna
after
vote
you've
for
stolen
Trump?
land from indigenous people, after you've stolen land from Mexican people, and now we're saying this is our territory. You're not allowed here. How
Wait, this guy
is it
cannot be
that
voting for Trump.
my mom, who has worked her entire life never asked for government assistance, has done it all on her own. When will she have citizenship? That's all I care about. I'm starting to learn that there's a lot of weight and importance to being a minority voter.
Our final guest is Senator Amy Klobuchar. So Senator Klobuchar says that the path to the White House runs straight through the Midwest, starting in her home state of Minnesota. Often, as we know, the Midwest gets whitewashed. And that can mean that candidates here prioritize white working class voters. But as you just saw,
is there a Democratic voter, the nomination that you would rather vote for Trump? No, there is. Listen, dude.
The Latinx population.
There is not a single fucking, like, there is no one that is so bad that I would end up voting for Donald Trump, okay? Like, because if Donald Trump ran on the Democratic ticket, I still wouldn't vote for Donald Trump. Which, by the way, is, I think, an interesting way that a lot of you need to recalibrate, okay? Like, a lot of you need to recalibrate because, like, oh, you're not going to vote for a Democrat over Trump. It's like, well, what if Trump ran as a Democrat? Because he easily could have. It's so dumb. This notion that, oh, man, well, you got to vote for every Democrat over Trump. No, you have to look at each individual and their policies. And Donald Trump's policies are so horrid, especially because he was running as a Republican. If he ran as a Democrat, they'd still be awful, but I'm pretty sure he would get a lot more support. Okay, I'm unmuting.
City Times.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah, you might not have known that one.
Yeah.
Iowa, Illinois.
All right, so it's Martin Luther King Day today. So I'm going to start our questioning with some of his words. This is from his letter from a Birmingham jail. He wrote, I have almost reached the regrettable conclusion that the Negro's great stumbling block in his stride towards freedom is not the white citizens counselor or the Ku Klux Klanner, but the white moderate, who prefers a negative peace, which is the absence of tension, to a positive peace, which is the presence of justice. Are you the kind of white moderate Dr. King warned us about?
No. I think he was talking about, at the time, there were plenty of whites that would perhaps profess to be helpful to African Americans, but we're actually holding back on a lot of civil rights legislation. Yes. That is not me. I have been a progressive in many, many ways. I've been a strong supporter of African American judges and putting people in places of power. I've been a strong supporter of voting rights legislation and reauthorizing the Voting Rights Act, which I think is a travesty.
If your advocacy centers around 1964 politics, you are the white moderate. The white moderate at the time said things along the lines of, well, slavery's over. You know, I'm a big advocate for continuing to make sure that slavery is still abolished. Okay? That's what a white moderate would be at that time.
But rather, the oppressor has a really difficult time understanding what it's like to be the oppressed. And the luxury of time is something like we'll get to that. We'll do that rather than, and let's keep things as they are now, orderly, rather than shake things up so much it makes people uncomfortable. And so I think Dr. King was disappointed in the white moderate for saying, like, hey, let's just keep things orderly for now, and we'll get to your problems, but we'll get to them in our time. So I think that's the question that I'm asking you in that sense is, like, there's a lot of there are a few candidates running for the nomination who really do want to shake things up from a very fundamental level. Your approach seems to be not to shake things up in the fundamental level. So then where is the luxury of time coming from, I guess? That's the follow-up to that.
That's a good question. So first of all, I don't pretend to know what it's like to walk into a maternity room pregnant and say that your hands are swollen and then walk out of there without your baby because no one's listened, or what it's like to walk into a store and have someone follow behind you, store security, or what it's like to know that 30% of African American kids are living in poverty. I don't pretend to live that life, but what I do know is that it's not fair and it's not right. And if you ask where I'm coming from, I think that progressive means you make progress. I think you can be bold.
Bro, this is our new line.
With policies that...
Progressive means you can make progress, as in, like, even if you make progress towards Even if you make progress towards like cutting taxes, for example, bipartisan legislation. Well, I just progressed towards cutting taxes for the wealthy. So that's still progress. That's not progress, dude. The frick is wrong with these people?
That's when Bush was president. Then when President Obama's in, we're so close, and the bill ends up in John Boehner's freezer next to the frozen peas. We can get this done. I want to go to carbon neutral, and I have very aggressive policies to get us there when it comes to climate change. I want to make it so that we take on the pharmaceutical companies. I've been doing it since I've gotten to Washington. I don't think these are little incremental steps.
It's not enough.
I think these are big things.
It's not enough. Remember, guys, Donald Trump literally ran on this. Donald Trump's main line is, we are going to roll back pharmaceutical prices. We're going to negotiate with Big Pharma and roll back pharmaceutical prices. If your most progressive bill is the same as Donald Trump's most progressive bill, then the Clubmentum is not happening, okay? The Clubmentum is literally rolling a boulder down a hill. There is no avalanche. There is no globe-trotting happening here. The only thing that's happening is we're going backwards on the Democratic Party once again. If you have a problem with me muting, you can
and I think it's really good
right off and go watch this video on the Vice Facebook
why we
page.
Don't want that to happen, because it would be such a problem for immigrants trying to do everything from access government to vote. So as you note, I don't agree with that position.
So I guess the bigger question that I would have is, why should voters of color trust a Klobuchar administration not to take positions that are maybe popular at the time, that poll well, that are frankly anti-immigrant in their construction? You understand?
So, yeah, I get that. And I think it's really interesting to note that I'm the only one up on that stage when I was running in the Midwest in a state that didn't have as big of a Hispanic population, but does have the biggest Somali population, which I have a lot of support because I've worked for them for so long. The biggest Hmong, second biggest Hmong population in the country. But despite that, the fact that we didn't have a big Hispanic population, I stood up strong for immigration reform. I had multiple ads run against me on immigration because of the fact I wouldn't back down on a path to citizenship. That is in 2006. I don't think anyone else up on the stage running for president stood up in a state like mine at the time. Then when I got to the Senate, why do you think Ted Kennedy asked me to be in the group of one of only 2 new senators? Because he knew I had stood up in a state that wasn't as easy as some of the other blue states.
The more I watch you, the more I tend to vote on Trump. Hell yeah, brother. Let's go. 4 more years, baby. 4 more years. Trump is not going to be good for you, but yo, you know what? Go after it, dude. Do you. Live your truth, king. Live your fucking truth, king, okay? Do you, brother. Do you. Doesn't matter. America's fucked anyway, okay? Just contribute to the acceleration of the destruction of the American empire. Hell yeah. Okay. This is really boring. This really sucks. Following for 20 minutes. Well, I guess in the past 20 minutes, he got even extra support in his heart for Donald Trump. All right, this is kind of boring. We'll get back to it if there's anything interesting going on. But for the time being, let's take a look at some other stuff. Specifically, first of all, Tom Steyer is just get off our boy, dude. Okay, get off our boy's pee-pee. All right, Tom. He's not gonna fuck you, Tom. Okay, he's not going to have sex with you, Tom. Please stop. He's just trying so hard. He's trying so hard. Okay, so that's one. Tom can have a... Yeah, Tom is just trying not to get guillotined as best as he can, but... I think Tom really likes Bernie for real. I think he does, yeah. Well, listen. If Tom likes Bernie, I've said this already. If Tom likes Bernie that much, then he should drop out of the race, endorse him, and then secretly be his Robert Mercer. He should be his Robert Mercer to Donald Trump's Robert Mercer, okay? He should be Bernie's Robert Mercer if that's what he wants to do. What up, misbehaving? Now this?
Who would you vote for if the election were today? Biden, Buttigieg, Warren, Klobuchar, other, or Trump? There's no other candidates. No other candidates here.
This is so disgusting.
See
dude.
all these memes? And then you see it in real life when you come to America and watch their propaganda TV, and it's crazy. Oh my god. Who the fuck is Klobuchar? Oh my.
Absolutely pathetic. Bernie said fuck billionaires and Tom said on God, flushed emoji. Unless, yo, would it be? He's like, Bernie, it'd be weird if you fucked billionaires. When you said fuck billionaires, it'd be weird if you meant like actually fuck them, right? Unless. Hey, Bernie. So weird. Be weird if we kissed right now, right? Be so weird. I mean, kind of be cool though, because you know you keep saying fuck billionaires. Like you really show everyone that you're dedicated, right? Anyway, what is this? Bernie Sanders and Tom Steyer, the friendship I didn't know I needed. Yeah, I know. Tom really loves Bernie. No, don't forcefully take my money. I need it. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Oh, Jesus Christ. Bernie Sanders dances exactly like I do at the club, and you know what? I respect it.
Lord, listen. Jordan River, chilly and cold. Chill my body, but not my soul. Keep your soul.
What is this? What is this beta boy doing over here? Huh? What is this? I just gotta say, what is he doing? At least Bernie has the self-respect to be like, this is my dance move. This is when you go too far. Steyer is throwing it back, you bitch. I guess am I being homophonic?
Jordan River, chilly and cold.
Didn't Bernie Bros make fun of Warren for doing a similar dance? Look, probably. I mean, it's just bad. It's like at this point, all you got to do is you either own it and you're like, I can't dance, so this is all I got, or you try to go really into it and you look like a clown. In this circumstance, what Tom Steyer is doing is like really leaning into it. Okay?
Heal my body, but not my soul. Keep your soul. Lord, are you there?
They're just both terrible, dude. New CNN poll on Trump impeachment. Okay, don't care.
Here is my strategy. You said that my agenda is radical, correct?
I said yes.
Okay.
In connection to again. Wait.
Look at him. He's trying to shut down a black man from speaking. That's pretty racist.
I'm going to answer you.
Okay.
I really will. Okay. Guaranteeing health care to all people through a Medicare for All program, is that radical? Raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour, is that radical? Making public colleges and universities tuition free, canceling all student debt through a tax on Wall Street speculation, radical? Dealing with climate change, radical? Immigration reform, radical? Criminal justice reform, radical? Protecting a woman's right to control her own body, radical? Sane gun policy, radical?
All right, Senator.
I beg your pardon. Very radical.
That was pretty good. Look, dude, this is what I like, dude. I like this. This is good, dude. Dude is too damn old. POTUS is a young man's game. Obama proved that. Real Donald Trump is proving it as well. Okay, thanks, buddy. That was. I think Bernie Sanders is good. This is like his best. when he like pops off even a little bit. Maybe because he's like never popping off. That like even when he pops off just a little bit, I'm excited. I'm here for it. I just want to show you guys the worst take of all time. I said there's 0% chance this dude has fired this gun more than 10 times. There's also no reason to have an anti-material rifle outside of the shooting range. This is just tactical nonsense. Okay, so there's a gun rally, like a pro-gun rally going on in Virginia today. Luckily, there was no murders, which I guess is setting the bar relatively low. And people are still celebrating it where they're like, well, there were very few Nazis and no murders so far. So pretty good. So this guy came in with a 50 cal. Okay. He came in with a 50 cal. This is a 30-pound rifle. All right. A 30-pound rifle. Each bullet, depending on where you purchase it, is $4. Okay. It's basically to shoot a tank. Like this is armor piercing bullets. You shoot it at tanks, you shoot it at APCs, you shoot it through walls. It is an insanely expensive rifle, and the cheapest bullet you can purchase for it is like $5 a piece. Now, yeah, you don't shoot a tank, you shoot light armor, your pleb. Shut up. You know what I mean. Listen, there is no instance in which this weapon is used for home defense, okay? This is just tactical nonsense. This is just for funsies. This is just because you want to shoot like an incredibly powerful weapon. Now, you get this gun and you're gonna use it maybe in the shooting range once or twice. But if you're this out of shape already, okay, and he's got like that soft padded helmet on too, like this is a Tarkov level 1 helmet. You get one tap with that helmet with a 9mm, it's still piercing through. All right. This helmet is not stopping anything. The only thing this helmet could stop is if he fell down a flight of stairs and maybe landed on his head and it like avoided him from getting fully concussed, and maybe he got lightly concussed because of the helmet that he had on his head. All right. Like that's the kind of helmet he has on. So like he's just, my man is just straight up LARPing. Okay. Straight up LARPing with a bike helmet on. He's got all this gear on. He's carrying a 30-pound rifle, and he's not even carrying it correctly, obviously. This is not the proper way to carry this rifle. And it's incredibly dangerous to begin with. I really hope that there are no bullets in that magazine. And it's just like indicative that these guys are just LARPing. It's just so indicative that like these guys are, this is just about like wanting to own a very expensive weapon. This is not like a working class weapon either, just for the record. There is no pretext in which this will help you do home defense, okay? Setting this rifle up and aiming it at someone is virtually impossible in a home invasion scenario. And if you were to actually aim it at someone, let's say he had it on a perch right next to his bed, staring at the door, okay? And it was already locked and loaded, and a guy comes in, like, and he's like, "I'm gonna rape your wife. I'm here to rape your wife, sir. I'm a home invader." And he says, I'm a concealed carry holder," and he jumps down. Okay, he gets his like out of shape ass out of bed, rolls onto the gun, and fires. Okay, and fires in the direction of the assailant. You know what it would do? It would literally go through the assailant's body and then go through 4 other fucking walls behind the assailant. So like, this is not the rifle that you would use for home defense. This is not a rifle that you would even use for hunting, because it literally is built to pierce through armor. So it would literally go through every wall in his house and fly out of his house in the direction in which he shot this rifle from. So nothing. Like, this rifle is just exclusively tactical nonsense. He's clearly never sniped. Easy 360, no cap. Yeah. As a 28-year-old retired combat veteran, that line looks more like a child's princess or birthday party than Men of Arms. It's a bunch of underemployed Fox News watching Call of Duty, playing pretenders. Give me 10 of them overseas in the desert under fire for one day. Then we'll see. Yeah, I mean,
off just by flying close.
Okay. Based blue sky driving. Look at that. And they say I hate America. And they say I hate America, but I got a lot of combat veterans in my audience. So weird. So weird. Anyway. So the only circumstance in which that this moron would ever be able to use it if it was like literally like 5 or 6 assailants lined up right behind one another, and I guess it like went through all of them. Like it would have to be like totally lined up. So, yeah, just like the rapists are coming in, and they're also a dance troupe at the same time. So they're like, they come in to do rapes in your house, but they do it in a single line format while they're dancing. They're like, we are here to rape your wife, and then boom, you shoot through them, and all 4 of them die at the same time. That's it. Yeah, or the Macarena. Yeah, exactly. Here's an anti-material rifle to destroy the material conditions that allow for worker exploitation. Stop bullying our comrade. Yeah, dude, definitely. Yeah, this guy definitely purchased an $11,000 retail rifle without like the bullets cost like $4 a piece. He definitely purchased that because he is a proletarian hero. Yeah, that's what happened. That rifle on the wall of the laborer's cottage or working class flat is a symbol of democracy. It's our job to see that it stays there. Thank you, dude. Yeah. This is a pretty basic Kalashnikov rifle right here. That's the same as that. I would not even want that rifle for the revolution. My God, what a worthless weapon to conquer the bougie with. Yeah, at the first of all, do you know the recoil on this thing? Do you know? Like, the reason why I said there is no way this guy has fired this weapon more than 10 times is because, like, you put the 10-round magazine in here, okay? You put it on and you shoot it 10 times, your shoulder blade is off. It's gonna fly off, dude. You have no more shoulder. This guy, it doesn't look like he even uses stairs. You're telling me that he's gonna sit there and shoot 10 rounds of this? Absolutely not, dude. Oh, there's barely any recoil because it's so heavy. Please don't talk about guns when you haven't shot anything bigger than 22. Yeah, okay, dude. Yeah, this gun doesn't have kickback at all. No kickback on this 30-pound gun that shoots 50 cals. Okay, dude. I shot 10 rounds from him. It's built to compensate for the recoil. This guy's shoulder would fly off if he shot this. 100%. Show a YouTube video of it. All right, let's do it.
Hold on to that bitch tight.
Yeah. Dude, there's nothing. It's not the same rifle. No, it's a 50 cal sniper rifle. It's not the same one, but dude, that's so tight. That's so tight that like all the gun guys in here, they know so much, dude. They know,
you know that saying where people say something.
They know so much about guns, dude. Because I'm some like bi-coastal elite lib, so like, you know, I can't handle guns. I've never shot guns, whatever, blah blah blah. It's like recoil might be rough, but what it lacks in usage, it more than makes up in drip. Yeah. No, dude, that guy was soft. If it were up to me, if I was shooting that thing, let me tell you something, brother. If it were up to me, if I was shooting that, I'd be shooting pew, pew, pew. That's what I would do. That's what I'd be doing.
I hit a little.
Why do people with like
fluke because it should have dropped about this far. So this one is probably the most realistic. It should have probably dropped about like that. Maybe not that much. Maybe.
Wait, a 50 cal shoulder fire? Can you even shoulder fire a 30-pound gun like that? Look at this skinny guy shooting him while standing up, barely any recoil.
Those rocks.
Which ones?
Where's your base as well?
It's rocks.
Does it matter? Like he's gonna hit?
That's crazy.
Dude. Alright. I'm done.
Okay. The reason why this is a 1.8 million view video with the reason why this is like an impressive feat is because this is a person who knows how to shoot a gun and it's still kicking him back fairly significantly. And he's a fucking Marine, dude. So if you think that like this guy, okay? If you think that this guy has the capacity to do this.
Hey, get a shot at that. Who's next?
Without a, by the way, no recoil, by the way. It has good recoil suppression, sis. It has good recoil suppression for how powerful the rifle is. But like to claim that it has, they claim that it has no kickback when it literally has a place that you can hold to compensate is idiotic. Backtrack Andy, you guys are so dumb, dude. You guys are literally the dumbest people on the planet. Okay, yeah, you're just baiting me. There is no way like my man just sent me like a 1.8 million viewed video to show this.
You don't love the spirit of justice. All right. You love your father, the
gun
devil.
nerds are so dumb. Gun nerds are so dumb. Like Magumbo Andy. Okay. What's your opinion on leftists who are pro Second Amendment? Any attempt to disarm the workers must be frustrated by force if necessary crowd. Look, I think it's dumb. I think the Second Amendment is dumb, especially because it's subject to interpretation and it's been grossly misinterpreted by advocates for the gun lobby, by advocates for gun manufacturers. Okay, I don't have a problem with guns. I think guns are cool. I think guns are fun to play around with, but they are incredibly dangerous. And the reality is guns need to be heavily regulated. There is no way in which like you should be able to have a gun and not go through the same kinds of rigorous training and protocols where you drive a fucking car. I would even say that it has to be more than a car. Some gun advocates will say, oh, just like the licensing, especially for your first gun, or if you move up like through a different caliber and like different, if you're using different guns, you do need to demonstrate you know how to use it. Like, I don't think that that's a psychotic thing to take. That's not a psychotic take. You need mandatory universal background checks, and you absolutely need to have a license. Okay? It's just psychotic to go against this notion. Why give school shooters training? Just take their guns away? Okay. It's my right to have guns without background checks. Love it or leave it. You're so dumb. You hold one in each hand and fire them in opposite directions to cancel out the recoil. Duh. Shows how much you know. Yeah. Well-regulated militia in the language actually means no regulation whatsoever. That's what that means, dude. Do you have any guns? I cannot confirm nor deny whether I have a gun or not. Wait, MLK would vote for universal basic income. That's what he was campaigning for before he died. Yes, MLK wanted a UBI. MLK was also a democratic socialist anti-imperialist. So if you think that like MLK was only interested in a UBI and not necessarily interested in radical revolutionary social justice and economic justice, then you're just simply a Yang ganger who saw a couple memes and haven't looked into this any further. MLK's bitch made Malcolm X the real king. Look, there will be no anti-Malcolm X takes in here, but there will be no MLK takes in anti-MLK takes in here either. I am a radical centrist when it comes to the line between MLK and Malcolm X. I'm firmly in between, where I think both sides of that kind of liberation is an absolute necessity. One is the forward-facing, peaceful revolution that you show to the white moderate, and that way you can actually bring up a base of support no matter what. And the other side is the militant side. That is also an absolute necessity, because no one is going to do anything without any sort of militancy, without any sort of like genuine militant momentum.
Love your father, the devil.
Hi, Hashish.
Oh, I saw this take earlier. This is a pretty good take. Let's take a look. AOC said,
party. We, in what you said earlier too, I wanted to go back.
to what you said about our left party. We don't have a left party in the United States. The Democratic Party is not a left party.
True.
The Democratic Party is a center or center conservative party. We do not advocate for, we can't even get a floor vote on Medicare for all. Not even a floor vote that gets voted down. We can't even get a vote on it. So this is not a left party.
This is the worst interviewer just by virtue of the way he says, It is like, I mean, straight cooming. Like, it is pretty bad. Not gonna lie.
There are left members inside the Democratic Party that are working to try to make that shift happen. But you're right, it does convey a certain sentiment about true believers. And there are a lot of true believers in that we can capitalism our way out of poverty in the Democratic Party. If anything, that's
Wait, is it Ta-Nehisi Coates? Is she talking to Ta-Nehisi Coates? God, he's doing a terrible job.
And that's an area in which I agree
see.
with Dr. King, that assessment is flawed. Party. We don't have a left party in the United States.
I'm still right. It's terrible. Can you read this in his voice? I can't believe Bernie said this. He's a monster. I'm literally shaking. A lot of your critics say you have a woman problem. How do you respond? I haven't got a girl problem. I love the dames. But let me be clear. There will be no broads in a Bernie Sanders White House. None. Too freaking distracting. That's why you're trying to work and you got some girl Friday sashaying across the floor with pins that would have made FDR leap from his chair and done the Charleston. But let me tell you, that is no way to run an administration. Women be shopping, and under a Bernie Sanders presidency, women will keep doing the shopping, but not inside of the White House.
You don't love the spirit of justice. You love
Dudes
your
Rock
father, the
2020. You won't believe this top secret league dinosaur dancing for 20 hours. Wow, sick, dude. Yeah. What does the title mean? I'm not too educated to understand. What is my title? I don't even know. Oh, is MLK was a Democratic Socialist? It's just the truth. I heard Bernie said a woman couldn't be first lady. True, he did say that. I'm gonna figure out I'm gonna go and do like a shooting range thing with Clean in the future. Does anyone have the? Yeah, I want to go and like shoot some guns and stuff. Will Tom Steyer be Bernie's first lady? True. He's in Oregon, so you can have Raj on too. True, that's true. True, that's real and true. That's real and true. Okay. Do we have the Bernard Sanders? Can you aim them at plutocrats? As a black gay man, guns scare me. At 2:28, the interview with Byrne.
Oh, I opiates because it's the
polished, fresh.
Talk, yeah. A lot of talk.
Deval Patrick.
Don't know him. Don't even know who that is, to be honest.
Man, we don't even know these people. I thought a Seattle Seahawks defensive lineman.
Bernie Sanders.
Interesting. Authentic. Revolutionary.
Progressive. Amazing person.
Spunky.
Tired.
idealistic.
He's so far left, he doesn't know where his right hand is to wipe his ass.
Bernie Sanders.
Oh, Hugh Hefner. God damn it.
Why Hugh Hefner?
Bernie got them females. You know what I'm saying? He ain't got no swag, but Bernie got them females.
True, dude. Based. Let's go. He's so right, dude. He's so right. He does. Bernie does. Oh, that's so good. They know. They know. Oh, I love this.
Just keeping it real. Love them.
So, folks, I'm here with my Colombian brethren, David Noriega, to help me interview our next candidate. Who is that, Paula?
Next, we have Senator Bernie Sanders. So the senator has normalized what was once completely unthinkable in American politics, and that's running on democratic socialism. And while he wants to push the country towards a political revolution, Democrats like President Obama have cautioned against tearing systems down. We know that Senator Sanders marched with revolutionaries like Dr. King in 1963. But what type of revolutionary change has the senator brought to people of color ever since? In his home state of Vermont, black men face one of the nation's highest incarceration rates. So yes, we know that revolutions can promise change, but change is never guaranteed. Let's give it up for Senator Bernie Sanders.
Fair. I think that's fair criticism, for the record. It's fair criticism of Bernie Sanders. There's like a couple. No, don't say wow lip shit. Don't say wow lip shit. I mean, there's not a lot of black people in Vermont, but still high. He's not governor. It doesn't matter. I know he's not governor. It doesn't matter. If we're gonna get upset at Pete Buttigieg, if we're gonna get upset, I mean, I guess the mayor has a way more on the way policing works in his in the area that in the locality that he's representing than a senator. That is actually interesting. Why don't they bring that up with like Massachusetts or anywhere else? Like, why don't they ever low sample size disqualifies percent-based stat comparison? Well, Paula doesn't like Bernie Sanders because Paula's dad also doesn't like Bernie Sanders because Bernie Sanders has stood firmly with Venezuela and a lot of other administrations in the Latin American countries that America has tried to enact regime change in. And both Paula and, I mean, I don't know where Paula stands on a lot of stuff, but I know her dad is like literally the king of going up to any country that America wants to change the regime of. Only 1.4%. Okay, you know what? I take that back. 1.4% of African Americans in Vermont is it's like a statistical anomaly. I mean, it's like statistically insignificant to use that as like a rate. 100% to your previous point about getting that stat on other cities. Like, it's an unfair comparison to make with like Bernie Sanders versus Pete Buttigieg because Pete Buttigieg has everything to do with how policing gets done in. I mean, I guess you could say that same about Bernie Sanders too as a senator, though. Like, just because he's not a governor doesn't mean that he can't change certain things in his own state. The only thing you could say here is that like he can still pressure the governor. Like he could advocate on a federal level. Like he could advocate on a federal level for a specific legislation. I mean, I guess he has already done that. Yeah. That's true. All right, I take it back. No. We're not talking about enforcement. So enforcement, of course, is mostly in the hands of the governor, or if you look at like localities, if you look at like a mayor, the mayor has like a lot more power in how policing gets done in their area. Because I'm like doing a direct comparison to Pete Buttigieg versus Bernie Sanders. You're acting like a lib, first bashing Bernie and then liking MLK. Shut up, Keith made me.
Hello. Hey guys.
How you doing, Senator?
How are you?
Senator.
Nice to see you.
You too.
I know Senator's a federal position.
So, how you doing, Senator?
That's why I said he can advocate and push for legislation at the federal level.
I recognize that we've been doing some studying up on you, of course, and we recognize that you like to be a man amongst the people, and that you sometimes like to stand and walk around and answer the questions. So I'm trying to be preemptive here and respectfully request, while we're engaging in conversation, we can look at you in your eyeballs, you can look at us, exactly. And then there'll be an opportunity for you to answer audience questions in, break dance, moonwalk, however you want to make the best use of the stage.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
All right, Senator.
I won't dance for you.
All right.
Well, that's
Fair
a huge
enough.
disappointment, but we'll take what we can get. Let's dive right in. As you know, people of color are bearing the brunt of climate change. I think it's hard to think of a better example of that than Puerto Rico.
Yep.
The island is not only uniquely vulnerable to rising sea levels, flooding, hurricanes, it's also subject to systemic government neglect, which, as we've seen in the last few years, can be disastrous. So what will you do to specifically protect the people of Puerto Rico from the climate crisis?
Well, for a start, I will work with the mayor of San Juan, Carmen Julian Cruz, who is a co-chair of my campaign. So we will work together.
Why did he yell like that?
On top of all that you have said, we have
campaign.
a Trump administration which is racist, which is xenophobe, which has treated the people of Puerto Rico, and everybody knows, of course, that people of Puerto Rico are American citizens, with absolute contempt. So when we have had disasters in Texas and we've had disasters elsewhere, money comes in. But somehow, for the people of Puerto Rico, there has been a significant delay and insignificant funding for their very, very serious crises. That's point number one. So as president, we will work with the people of Puerto Rico as brothers and sisters, as fellow Americans, and not demonize them or attack their political leaders. Number two, absolutely, it'll be poor people and people of color all over the world who are hardest hit by climate change. But the bigger issue is it's not only people of color and poor people.
I love the system.
It is the fact that climate change is an existential threat to the entire planet.
Thank you for the $40
And what
dono,
the
Shark
scientists
Cum.
are now telling us, and this is really scary stuff, is they have underestimated the speed and severity in which climate change is ravaging this entire planet. And that is why I am very proud to have introduced the most comprehensive climate change plan ever introduced by any candidate for federal office. It is based on the principles of the Green New Deal. What it will do is take on the greed and corruption of the fossil fuel industry. It will transform our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy. But we have to do more than just take on our own fossil fuel industry, because this is not an American issue. It's not a Puerto Rican issue. This is a global issue. And as President of the United States, my view is that we have got to reach out to every country in the world and tell them that instead of spending $1.8 trillion a year on weapons of destruction designed to kill each other, maybe we should pool our resources and fight our common enemy, which is climate change.
True.
So,
some weak applause there. Don't
Senator,
like
you
that.
mentioned the term New Deal. And
Green New Deal.
Green
yes.
New Deal, yes. But
Very
New
weak
Deal is
applause
in
there.
the title. And every time America has passed this huge transformative social program from Social Security to Obamacare, it's found some way to screw over black people. And so my question to you is, what are you going to do to make sure that your social programs aren't watered down in Congress?
That's not a lib question at all. For those of you who are quick to say like, oh, that's a lib question, that's 1,000% true. Anyone who does not talk about how, I don't know about Obamacare. I can't speak on Obamacare and how it hurt black people, or how it had unforeseen consequences in black communities. But I can tell you that there is a long history of universal programs being sold to Americans while black people get the shitty end of that bargain. Specifically, when we consider the New Deal under FDR, that absolutely, the New Deal absolutely carved out black people outside of the New Deal. While Social Security was helpful to all Americans, the New Deal was not overall helpful to all Americans. And that there is a leftist history in some respects where black people have been excluded from this conversation, even in unions. and they've had to create their own unions to advocate for their own interests. So this is part of the reason why, and don't say SJW propaganda. I'm sorry to mention this, but like this is part of the reason why like class is not simply enough. Yes, of course, looking at things from a class analysis, looking at things from a class perspective is important, and it is the broadest, it captures the broadest audience, and it advocates for the needs of the broadest audience. It's the most utilitarian and most pragmatic even way of looking at issues. However, that does not change the reality that America has had a long and complicated history with race, and even the supposed progressives have 1000% left black people behind in an effort to even sell these kinds of universal programs to America. This is not a take, it's just the truth. It's a descriptive situation.
In ways that exclude black Americans.
Our plan, if anything, is going to be benefiting the African American community and the Latino community and the Native American community. All right. So when you talk about Medicare for all and guaranteeing health care to every man, woman, and child in this country, it benefits everybody. It benefits primarily or significantly the people who today don't have health insurance or are significantly underinsured, which is the black community and the Latino community. When I talk about making public colleges and universities tuition free, you know who the people now who are struggling most with student debt?
You love your
young African Americans.
Pogu.
Young African Americans are also having a hard time getting into college, going to graduate school, coming out with huge debt. So when we make public colleges and universities tuition free, impacts everybody, significantly helps the African American and Latino community.
So I've talked about this on my Agitprop episode regarding the MSNBC coverage of Bernie Sanders' criminal justice program. I don't know if you guys remember this, but oftentimes the only issue that we look at from a this helps or hurts the black and brown community's analysis is criminal justice. But the reality is, and this is unfortunate because like the mainstream cultural hegemonic thought is a liberal one, absolutely, and the liberal one is clinically incapable of looking at things from a class-based point of view. Or from a socioeconomic point of view, and only tries to categorize people into different demographic profiles, and that's really bad. You have to look at it from a class point of view. We are not conditioned into understanding climate justice and economic justice as though they are issues that would greatly and significantly and overwhelmingly uplift black and brown communities. And that is incredibly frustrating because Agit who? Okay, shut up. So the issue here is like when Bernie Sanders comes out with a criminal justice, perhaps the most comprehensive criminal justice reform package, you think, okay, like this is helping the black and brown community. You don't think about it. And by the way, there's another reverse the role Squad W situation here where what's frustrating to me is like when we talk about criminal justice reform, people don't think about it from the point of view of white people that have also been subjected to the carceral state and have suffered from it, because there are plenty of poor white people that are also grossly charged and have to serve extensive sentences, and that is a reality. So that and there are still poor white people that get killed by cops. There are still poor white people who are addicted to drugs that then are criminalized. So, like I said, these issues have to also be seen from the scope of class.